Okay, so we're here and we're watching the songs about Solomon, which is basically me watching this Middle Eastern big nose freak and Gary Vaynerchuk communicate. And he just touched the leg of the Middle Eastern guy while he's talking about platform.
Realize that they are actually...
And the dude got turned on. The other thing I wanted to tell you about the Middle East is they don't understand sex or sexuality. They have an idea around it, but they don't connect with people like a spouse. Like I just told you, the Middle East hold hands of men to men. That's normal for their culture. They stand way too close. They don't respect people's personal space. And he just got turned on because Gary went like this to his leg. But he doesn't understand that arousal is inappropriate. He wouldn't even probably blink if he thought Gary V, he's actually turned on by it. And Gary V feels like he's going to puke.
Pretty much in a group of 3 different flavors that you like. You're all vanilla, strawberry, or chocolate. And you think that's the punchline without looking at the analytics of what time to post, how many words should be in the like no math, all ego.
It's intention around posting times. So a real person, a person with logics knows that you want to grow a business in logics to assist your audience. He wants to manipulate audiences in time of which you post using Arabic language. Stellar grotesquerie. He's grotesque as fuck.
Art, no practical math.
I actually feel like puking right now.
and everybody else. Now, by the way, this is a very important side note.
But on that note, though, yeah, okay, go.
And then
Go.
That's okay.
Oh my god, I really actually feel like puking.
Happy, but don't fucking cry about being shadow banned or the algorithm because you stink.
So he just told him to his face, he stinks in energy, and he had no reaction. He doesn't understand it.
I actually smell quite good, but...
I actually smell quite good. Leans in. He leans in with the microphone at his mouth.
So that's a big question, a fundamental question.
Yes.
Quality versus...
Now he's excited. He's excited about this because he caught something. Unrest. Fight.
This quantity.
The real answer is both.
Okay.
Meaning, if you're good enough, Kai Cenat is putting out unlimited content.
Kai Cenat is not good enough. The reason he is making it in the business because he's a fucking filthy animal. And that's the mentality of the United States of America. And it's not a brand. He's just a filthy piece of shit. And train wrecks and car wrecks sell more newspapers than someone sitting in front of you telling you how to sew or crochet. The old saying of SEX sells, however, everybody is disgusted by all of you.
And he's good enough to do it. I've had a high career of volume, and
He can't even sustain the ability that it takes to keep people in line because he doesn't live a life of ethics or morals. So if Kai Cenat, I think I knew who this dumb shit is, but I'm not really sure. I think he's the black guy who abuses homeless people. He doesn't have ethics and morals in his life. And so he attracts people who are either teetering and tottering on the line of unethical to draw them over to the line to abuse everybody in their path.
And I'd like to think that I've been good enough.
Like life's one big party. Anybody work in the emergency room when someone's really fucking sick? That's everybody in the world right now. And what if you didn't have a doctor and you were in the ER? What would you do? they would pull out their credit card. But there is no doctor in the room. So they would steal the water bottle from somebody else so that they would drown.
Most people, to your point, can't do enough volume of quality.
So we're drowning in water here, folks. And you get anxiety when you drown in water, and you should be able to see it in all the youth it's like every one of these people in their 20s and their 30s are literally drowning us in water. They have no structure, there's no function, there's no delivery of confidence, there's no delivery of education. They don't have an education. They don't care, but they do care. It's all shallow. Like there are levels that everybody has in their existence of having shallowness that you develop into as you get older to realize that you were shallow. But there is like a rolling down of the bowling ball where you can't even really see that they're that shallow. Like these kids don't see how shallow they are because they're continuously told and praised at how wonderful they are, and they shouldn't care what people think. This content that Gary makes fuels off of a Persian existence. It developed into a stolen identity out of America to tell a Middle Eastern pervert that it's okay to behave like that.
And so it makes sense for them to have to be less. But if you were good enough, Kevin Hart and Ryan Reynolds are everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
There's no
So he's all like, oh yeah, we like them because they're famous.
for exposure. They're good enough. So I think everyone has to be humble.
He's like, oh, it's a brand.
And self-aware and say, how good am I? And if I'm good enough, I should put out more good stuff because that will only be good for the audience and myself. But to your point, if you don't have anything to say or you can't contribute, less frequency is probably your...
So that's why Mona Van doesn't post, is because she doesn't have anything to say. So she barely posts in frequency. There you go. Because the more she puts out on content, the more she makes people sick. So I don't really know what she thinks, how she's going to get away with this. Because people are already really tired of all these Middle Eastern people. I mean, how many pieces of content do I put out in a day? And you're not really, why aren't you tired of me yet? Because I'm authentic, because I have a lot to say, I have a lot of education, and I'm really teaching you something. I'm a human.
partner. But I think everyone should achieve for quality, quantity,
So I do the work, and Gary does his form of working.
ratio at the highest level, that their talents reward them.
Is your talents reward you? Oh, we're gonna go in. We're gonna get in a fight.
AI influencer? Is that
AI influencer.
It's not the new
So tone and texture of the way he just said that.
TikTok, it's a new TikTok star. It's a new Charlie D'Amelio.
Oh, that would be me.
It's a new...
But guess what? You ain't getting Charlie D'Amelio style content. Do you hear me? You ain't getting Charlie D'Amelio style content because that shit frequency is filth. She's part of the reason out of all these fucking influencers why your kids are failing and miserable and depressed. She is the reason. So is Addie.
You know,
You want to know why you have dementia? It's because of your kids.
Alex Cooper. It's the new...
Because of Alex Cooper, you're depressed. Because of Alex Earl, you're depressed. This is This is real shit. You know, people in real life are abusive to you, and you continue to go back for more until one day you've had enough. And that's because they're narcissists. And so is Alex Earl and Alex Cooper, but they talk about narcissists as if they're not narcissists, but they are narcissists, and they're all working with the Middle East and the Democratic Party, which was very clear in her hosting Kamala Harris on her podcast, where she then instigated Donald Trump, which tells you everything about who she is as a person, is a disrespectful Canadian.
It's a new influencer. It's what started with Tila Tequila.